All right, so you're here listening because you need to know what's up.
Yeah.
You need to get the information like right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when we're talking about, the stuff that really matters, like keeping your fleet running and making sure you're making the right moves when it comes to EVs.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing it everywhere, right? Electric vehicles are everywhere.
Everywhere you look.
You know it's coming.
Yeah.
You know it's the future.
It's the wave.
And you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I ride this wave? What's the smartest way to do this?
Exactly. And you know what? The big question we're going to tackle today is the one that's probably keeping you up at night.
Yeah.
How do you actually transition your fleet over to electric without getting like totally bogged down with all the costs and the complexity of setting up all that,
infrastructure,
that charging infrastructure? Yeah, all that traditional stuff.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about today.
That's the heart of it.
We've been looking at a ton of information on this, and everybody's talking about mobile EV charging.
Yeah.
And it seems like it could be like a total game changer.
It really could be.
So think of this deep dive as like your express lane to figure out why this whole mobile charging thing is getting so much attention.
Absolutely.
And, our mission here is to really untack it all.
Yeah.
Look at the options.
Right.
Take a deep dive into a company called BeeCharged.
Yeah, BeeCharged is doing some really interesting things.
And really understand, why they're becoming the go-to for so many fleet managers like you.
Exactly. So let's step back for a second and look at the big picture here.
Sure.
You're seeing the numbers, right? You're reading all the reports.
Yeah.
The EV market, it's not just growing a little bit. It is like exploding.
Yeah, it's taking off.
It's taking off. This isn't like some future thing we're talking about.
Right.
This is happening right now.
It is happening now.
This is reality.
No doubt about it. And you know what? While this whole EV boom is awesome for so many reasons, it also really makes it clear that we need
to have the infrastructure
to support it all, especially for fleets.
Right.
Because fleets have their own very specific needs.
Yeah, very demanding operational needs.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ballgame.
And that's where the traditional way of doing things can really hit a wall.
Yeah. It runs into some roadblocks, for sure.
Big time.
Yeah. When we were talking about those fixed charging stations.
You're the ones you see everywhere.
And parking lots along the highway.
Yeah.
They come with some built-in limitations.
Yeah.
That can cause some real headaches, especially for fleets.
Yeah.
So let's break down some of those key challenges.
Okay. So first off, the elephant in the room, money.
They cost.
We're talking about a big investment up front to install these permanent charging stations.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about chump change. We're seeing numbers anywhere from like $50,000 to $100,000 for each station.
Yeah, that's a serious capital expenditure for any fleet.
It's a massive.
It's a lot of money.
And it's not even just the buying and installing it.
Right.
You got to think about the time, too.
The time it takes.
Putting in these fixed stations.
It's not a quick process.
No, it is not. It could be like 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, 3 to 6 months, easily.
Before a single station's even ready to go.
Up and running.
And that's a long time for your fleet, your electric fleet that's growing to be kind of stuck in limbo.
Yeah, without that reliable charging.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
And then there's the obvious one,
What's that?
These things don't move.
Yeah, they're fixed.
They're fixed in place.
Suck.
So if your fleet's operations change,
right,
like you need charging at a different depot or like a temporary spot.
A staging area.
Yeah. You can't just pick up these expensive things and move them.
Yep.
They're not flexible.
They're not.
And so many fleets today need that flexibility.
Absolutely. So you've got the big upfront costs.
Yeah.
You've got the long installation times. And you've got that inflexibility. All those things together.
It all adds up.
They directly impact your efficiency.
Yeah.
And they're going to increase your costs in the long run.
For sure. And, in the transportation world, uptime is everything.
Everything.
Every minute that a vehicle is sitting around waiting to charge.
At some inconvenient location.
Yeah, it's costing you money.
It's eating into your profits.
And think about it, like if your delivery trucks have to go miles out of their way to get to a public charging station.
Just to get a charge.
That's time wasted.
It's inefficient.
Yeah, wasted miles.
And that's exactly what mobile charging is trying to solve.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
So what's the solution?
Yeah.
That's where mobile EV charging comes in, right?
That's it.
I mean, the idea is pretty simple.
It is.
Just bring the charging to the vehicles.
Yeah.
Wherever they are.
Right to them.
So it's flexible in a way that those fixed stations just can't be.
Exactly. Mobile charging gives you that adaptability that you need.
Your vehicles don't have to be stuck at a specific charging spot.
Nope.
The charging comes to them.
It does.
And it's crazy how much of a difference that can make for vehicle availability.
It's huge.
We're talking like potentially a 60% reduction in downtime?
Yeah, up to 60%.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Like your delivery fleet can do way more routes in a day.
Yeah.
Or like emergency vehicles are ready to go again much faster.
Yeah. That's a real game changer when it comes to efficiency.
60%.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Okay, so who's doing this mobile charging thing?
Yeah, who are the big players?
All the stuff we've been reading keeps mentioning BeeCharged.
Yeah.
What makes them so special?
They're definitely getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And everything we've seen points to them as like the top solution for fleets that want to go electric.
Okay.
They're being called a game changer.
The game changer.
Because they've got a few really unique things going on.
Okay, so tell me what makes BeeCharged the company that fleet managers need to know about.
All right, so first off,
You're all about fast and efficient charging.
Okay.
Which is like the most important thing for fleets, right?
Yeah.
You don't want your vehicles sitting around waiting to get charged.
No.
You want them out there working.
Exactly.
And then the second thing is
Yeah.
how fast they can get things up and running.
Okay.
We're talking about getting their mobile charging units set up in like 1 to 2 weeks.
Wow, that's fast.
It is super fast, especially compared to those fixed stations that can take months.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage for fleets that need to get going quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you need to scale up your EV adoption fast,
Yeah.
BeeCharged can make it happen.
What else?
Okay, so they also offer really high power output.
Okay, what does that mean, like, practically speaking?
It means they can pump a ton of charge into your vehicles quickly.
Okay.
Kind of like those super fast public charging stations you see.
Oh, okay, cool.
And this is a big one.
Yeah.
BeeCharged is really committed to using renewable energy
Oh, nice.
to power their charging solution.
That's good. So, they're helping fleets hit their sustainability goals.
Yeah, that's a big selling point for a lot of companies these days.
It is for sure.
Okay, so we get the general benefits of mobile charging and why BeeCharged is interesting.
Yeah.
But how do they actually compare?
Yeah. Good question.
Not just to fixed charging, but also to other mobile charging companies out there.
Right, because there are other players out there, like SparkCharge.
Yeah, our sources mentioned SparkCharge.
Yeah, they're out there. So how does BeeCharge stack up against all of them?
Exactly.
That's what fleet managers really need to know.
Yeah.
So let's talk about cost effectiveness.
Okay.
Because the numbers are really interesting here.
Okay.
We're looking at an initial investment for a BeeCharged mobile unit of like $20,000 to $30,000.
Okay, so much less than fixed charging.
Way less. Remember those fixed stations are like 50 to 100,000 each?
Yeah, big difference.
Big difference. And it's not just the upfront cost, the maintenance is way cheaper too.
Okay, how much cheaper?
We're talking about like $1,500 a year for a mobile unit
Okay.
versus like $5,000 for a fixed station.
Wow, okay, yeah, that adds up fast.
It does. And then you've got to factor in the reduced downtime.
Right, because your vehicles are spending less time charging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which saves you even more money over time.
Yeah, so lower upfront costs, lower maintenance,
Yep.
and less downtime for your vehicles.
It's a pretty strong argument financially.
It is.
Yeah.
So why would a fleet choose BeeCharged over another mobile option like SparkCharge?
Okay, so there are a few key things.
Yeah.
One big one is BeeCharged's units can pump out more power,
Okay.
which means faster charging times.
Got it.
And we talked about this before. They're all about renewable energy, which is a big deal for fleets that are trying to be more sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're really focused on tailoring their solutions to each fleet.
Okay.
They work with you to figure out your schedules, your routes, what kind of vehicles you have.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all thing? It's not. And then there's the ease of mobility and the quick setup times we talked about.
Yeah.
All those things together make them a really strong choice for fleets.
Compared to the other guys.
Yeah, especially compared to some of the other options out there.
Okay, so this all sounds really good
It is.
for fleets that want to go electric,
Right.
but are worried about the cost and the hassle.
Yeah, exactly.
But are there any other factors that are helping push this whole mobile charging thing forward? Like, what about government incentives?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's a ton of financial help out there,
Okay.
both from the federal government and from states,
Yeah.
to encourage people to switch to EVs
Okay.
and to help them build out the charging infrastructure,
Yeah.
like the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
It offers some serious financial support.
So that helps with the cost of setting up mobile charging.
Exactly. It can really help offset the costs.
That's great. Because it's not just about the operational advantages. Then the government is actually helping to make this more affordable.
They are.
That's great news. Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah, let's get practical.
How are these mobile charging solutions especially BeeCharged,
Right.
actually helping different kinds of fleets in the real world.
So let's start with delivery services.
Okay.
Think about those companies.
Yeah.
They've got to have their vehicles ready to go at all times, at all different locations.
To make your deliveries on time.
Exactly. Mobile charging lets them make sure all their vans and trucks are topped off.
Charged up and ready to roll.
Exactly. When and where they need them.
So that means more efficiency?
Yep.
And happier customers?
Happier customers, for sure.
Makes sense. Okay, what about something even more critical?
Yeah.
Like emergency services.
Oh, yeah. Great example.
For things like police and ambulances?
Right.
Those vehicles can't afford to be down.
Nope. Not for a minute.
Mobile charging can really make a difference there.
It can.
Yeah.
Because those vehicles come back to base with low batteries.
Yeah.
And they need to get back out there fast.
Exactly.
So a mobile unit can charge them up quickly.
So they're ready to respond to the next emergency.
Right. Which is obviously super important for public safety.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Are there other kinds of fleets that would benefit from this?
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, think about municipal fleets.
Okay.
Like garbage trucks or public works vehicles.
Yeah.
They can save a ton of money by using mobile charging.
How so?
They don't have to build out a bunch of fixed charging stations.
At all their different depots.
Exactly. Which saves them money on energy.
Yeah.
And on maintenance in the long run.
That makes sense. So this mobile EV charging thing isn't just some niche solution.
It's not.
It can work for a whole bunch of different fleets.
It can work for almost anybody.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the tech itself.
Yeah, nuts and bolts.
What's making mobile EV charging so much better?
Right.
It's got to be more than just a big battery on wheels.
It is way more advanced than that.
Yeah.
We're seeing some really cool innovations in how they deliver the power.
Okay.
So the charging is faster and more reliable.
Okay, like what?
Well, for example, they're using higher voltage systems now,
Okay.
which helps to speed up the charging time.
Got it.
And they've developed these high-capacity chargers,
Yeah.
so the mobile units can deliver a lot more energy.
So less time plugged in.
Exactly. And we're even starting to see more portable and wireless charging systems.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It is. It just makes things so much more convenient.
So the hardware's getting better.
Yeah.
And I bet the software's too, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like managing all these mobile charging units.
Right.
It's got to be pretty high tech.
It is. Real-time monitoring apps are standard now.
Okay.
So fleet managers can see exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
They can see how much charge each vehicle has, where the mobile units are,
Okay.
and they can schedule charging sessions,
Oh, cool.
track energy usage,
Makes sense.
and even handle billing and payments all through the app.
So it's all streamlined and easy to use.
Exactly. Yeah.
So basically, it sounds like mobile EV charging and BeeCharged specifically are giving fleets a real solid alternative
They are.
to the old way of doing things.
It's a whole new approach
Yeah.
for fleet managers who care about efficiency and keeping costs down and minimizing any disruptions to their operations.
Yeah.
Mobile charging is the way to go.
It gets rid of all those limitations of fixed infrastructure.
It does.
Less downtime for vehicles,
Yep.
more flexibility to adapt as things change,
Uh-huh.
big potential for saving money,
Absolutely.
and it's sustainable.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah. It's a smart way to go electric without all the headaches of construction and stuff.
It is.
It really makes you wonder.
Yeah.
As EVs keep getting more popular,
Right.
how will this whole mobile charging thing change the game?
It's going to be huge.
Not just for fleets, but like for everyone.
Right.
Could we see a future where people don't even need fixed charging stations anymore?
That's a real possibility.
Like, what if the charging just came to you wherever you are?
That would be amazing.
Right.
It would change everything.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea.
That's something to think about for sure.
Definitely. If you're listening to this and you want to know more about mobile EV charging
Yeah.
and about BeeCharged solutions for fleets,
They've got some great stuff.
you can give them a call at 888-675-9555
Yeah, give them a shout.
or check out their website at BeeCharged.com.
It's BeeCharged.com.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Appreciate it.
We'll catch you next time.
See you later.